watching Dallas Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Harrison Graham, and hey, we're going to get to see the debut of a couple new players tonight in Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. Welcome into today's show. More Mavs news and rumors to catch you guys up on. Let's talk about the newest members of your Dallas Mavericks. Spencer Dinwiddie, we talked about him as a potential sixth man type of role. I think that's what you'll see as he is set to make his debut tonight. Was averaging 12.5 points, almost 6 assists with Washington. Obviously, the efficiency hadn't been great, under 38% from the field, under 32% from three. Hopefully getting back to that coming off the bench role with the Mavs, which, again, I think is what we'll see. Will suit him and fit his skill set and his abilities very, very nicely. Davis Bertans, I'm excited about him as well. Now, he has not shot the ball well this year at all, but I think it's, a wise man once said, good shooters don't forget how to shoot. And Davis Bertans is around a 40% career three-point shooter, so I'm just hoping, new offense, new team, winning culture, that he can come in and be a catch-and-shoot sniper from three-point range, which is what he's been throughout his career. And let's be honest, that's what the Mavs need. They need these guys to come in here and play well. Now, I'm not saying, you need Spencer Dinwiddie to average 20 points a game like he did a couple of years ago with Brooklyn. I'm not saying Davis Bertans has to shoot 42% from three, but he's got to play better than he has this year with Washington, and Dinwiddie needs to be a reliable bench guard. That's what you need. Dinwiddie needs to be a primary ball handler off the bench, because I'm not taking Jalen Brunson out of my starting lineup if I am the Dallas Mavericks. So you need Dinwiddie to fill that role and be productive. I mean, it's as simple as that. So hopefully these two guys can come in and they can play a role, because this bench unit, it needs it. Yikes, the bench against the Clippers, that ain't it, folks. 2 of 14, 4 points, didn't make a single three. Now, sure, you could chalk that up to a bad night. You could also say, this bench unit without Tim Hardaway, it's lacking some punch. Hopefully these two guys can help that out. Another member on the bench, Trey Burke. He was injured in that game against the Clippers. Sounds like it could be like a shoulder collarbone issue. He was getting more minutes as of late, especially with THJ going out recently. It'll be interesting to see what his role is once he's healthy, especially with Dinwiddie back. Can't imagine he'll have a major role, which is why I was still open to the idea of bringing in a guy like Goran Dragic, but again, that does not appear to be the case. Who's going to have the bigger impact on the Dallas Mavericks? Type SD for Spencer Dinwiddie. Type DB for Davis Bertans. Who will play the bigger role? Who will have the bigger impact? I think it'll be Dinwiddie, because he comes in right away and gives you good ball handling and point guard abilities. Like, he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. You need that coming off your bench. I'm going to type my SD, but hopefully we're all typing B for both. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Now, on today's show, Kristaps Porzingis might be gone, but Luka Doncic ain't going anywhere, and we got some jerseys available, tons of different brands, sizes, and styles, all at one place. Go to chatsports.com/Luka Jersey, cycling through some of the different ones available. There's a whole lot more to check out as well. That link will be in the comments. It'll be in the description. Rep Luka today at chatsports.com/Luka Jersey as he looks to carry this team to the playoffs for a third straight season. Now, this is an interesting story. So the NBA trade deadline obviously came and went last Thursday, and there was a lot of talk about Dorian Finney-Smith, Jalen Brunson. Obviously, Finney-Smith has gotten extended. Apparently, the Pistons really like Jalen Brunson, and the Mavs answered the call and were like, okay, you like Jalen Brunson? Well, we really like Cade Cunningham. Here was the reported exchange from Tim MacMahon of ESPN.com saying, quote, they, meaning the Pistons, did knock on the Mavs' door. I was told it was a pretty brief conversation. They asked about Brunson. The Mavs told them, sure, we've got interest in Cade, and that was about that. Clearly, if you're asking for the number one pick from last year when someone calls you about Jalen Brunson, you value Jalen Brunson, right? Like, joking or not, like, hey, you guys want Jalen Brunson? Well, we like Cade Cunningham. Yeah, that's the Mavs value Jalen Brunson. Now, had the Pistons been like, sure, I'm sure as hell taking that trade. But Detroit's obviously not going to trade the number 1 pick from last year, at least not at this point. Dallas likes Brunson. They want to bring him back. I expect an extension or a re-signing to happen once free agency starts, because that's when he can receive a bigger contract. Currently, you can only sign him to the Finney-Smith deal of 4 years, 55. I think it's probably going to be like 4 years and 80 for Jalen Brunson. So we will see what happens on that front. Just for fun, though, we'll compare the two guys this year. From a points per game standpoint, pretty similar. Obviously, Brunson's been much more efficient. But on the flip side, obviously, Cade Cunningham, much higher ceiling, number 1 overall pick guy. Obviously, the Pistons were not going to trade him. But I do find it funny that the Mavs kind of asked, like, well, okay, how about Cade? And I'm sure Detroit, it's the classic from the movies. You hear the click sound when someone's on the phone. Yeah, they probably hung up the phone at that point in time. Would you have done it? Come on, let's keep the hypothetical going. Would you have traded Brunson for Cunningham, type T for trade, type P for pass? Let me be clear, I absolutely would have done this, but it was never going to happen. Get your votes in, T for trade or P for pass. Make sure you guys subscribe to us here at Dallas Mavericks Today. We'll continue to have you guys covered just because the trade deadline is over. Doesn't mean we're going anywhere. It's kind of the final third of the season, All-Star break coming up, and then that playoff push time. So subscribe and don't miss any of our coverage here at Dallas Mavericks Today. We are closing in on 16,000 subscribers. It's free. Help us get there. Okay, so let's talk more about Dinwiddie and Bertans. Apparently, the Wizards were eager to move both of these guys, and there's been all these stories of how there was a lot of tension in that locker room before the deadline, etc. Here's what Mark Stein had to say on this. Quote, the Wizards were as eager to ship out Dinwiddie and Bertans as the Mavericks were to move on from the idea that Porzingis could be the ideal co-star from Luka. Dinwiddie turned off numerous co-workers in his brief time in D.C. Bertans has declined steadily and worryingly. And look, that second part of that quote, that is a concern, right? Like, you don't want Dinwiddie to come in here and be a bad teammate, be a bad culture fit. Hopefully that's not the case. And, from a production standpoint, Bertans has been bad this year. He's fallen off a cliff. Now, I think that Dallas has a better environment and culture in place than the Washington Wizards. At least I hope that's the case. But, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes a new situation simply helps a player play better, right? We've seen it all the time. But I think sometimes we kind of force that as well. Like, oh, he just needs to get into a better environment. And they're still kind of the same guys. So we'll have to see. It starts tonight. We'll see Bertans and Dinwiddie make their debuts tonight. I did find it interesting, some of the other fallout that came out. Bertans had this to say about Washington. Quote, it's tough to have a team chemistry when every single day the team is basically fighting with each other about, I want to get more minutes and I want a bigger role. That was probably the biggest part of struggles for most guys during the season. That kind of early on doesn't show because everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. Once it starts going downhill, it's really hard to turn around and start going up again. Referencing there that the Wizards started hot this year, but once they started losing, it really snowballed and the culture and the chemistry really started to fall apart. So hopefully, again, in Dallas, these guys get fresh starts and come into a more calmer situation. All right, sound off in the comments. Will Dinwiddie and Bertans be problems in the locker room? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I hope not. I guess we'll find out. Time will tell over the next, 25 games or so before the playoffs. Get your votes in and be sure to subscribe to Dallas Mavericks Today.